A lot of people are kind of hesitant to want to discuss the themes of faith in Tolkien because of this aversion to allegory that he has. And I think a lot of the time people forget that when Tolkien is saying that he doesn't like allegory, in the same sentence he goes on to say, I prefer applicability. And applicability is something that it preserves the reader's own freedom of an interpretation, of bringing your own perspective to the table, of kind of discerning what you think the story is about. Tolkien doesn't want to feel like he's forcing readers to kind of interpret his story in any way. So he's like, certainly there are symbols, and I know what the symbols are, but I'm not going to say these are the symbols that you must take away from the story. So I really enjoy that about Tolkien, and I think it's really important because kind of as we're reading the story, I'm going to interpret it in a different way than someone else might. But the nice thing about community and that way that we can come together is that we can then share those different interpretations and takeaways. Because every time I read The Lord of the Rings, I'm at a different phase in my life and different things stand out to me. And I find that really beautiful. Tolkien says The Lord of the Rings is a Catholic work, but then you're reading it and you're like, well, there's no church, there's no sacraments, there's no God. What does he mean by this? And what he means is that it's fundamental to the way that his world is created. It's something that he doesn't do consciously, where he's trying to kind of make Middle-earth into our own world and insert things into it. It just flows from his own Catholic faith and philosophy. And it's basically, the way that I describe it is it's like woven into the fibers of Middle-earth. So there's this kind of underlying sense of his Catholic faith. And a huge part of The Lord of the Rings that people who haven't read Tolkien's other works, like the 𝙍𝙬𝙨, might not realize is that his world, Middle-earth, was created by a supreme god called 𝙍𝙬𝙨𝙪. And so this god is very similar to ours, where they're omniscient, they're kind of willing things into being. And there's an aspect to this god's nature that I find very similar to providence. And I would say Tolkien does too. I don't like to put words into his mouth, but it's, basically the same. So providence is really guiding the story through the whole time, all of Frodo's journey. And then when you get to the very end of the story, Providence steps in and you have this moment where the world is saved. And it's not because of any one person's strength or heroism, it's because of Providence. And that's like kind of at the root of the whole story, and people might not even realize it.